Alright guys, happy Friday. You are almost to Thanksgiving break. We're going to work on this last page, knock a couple of these out, get you started, and then this packet is due on Monday when we get back. So first thing that I'm going to do off this page is going to be number 29 here in the middle. So I'm going to start my loop at root 5 up to the x, back around equals 1 over 25. Okay, then we have a couple things here to fix. Remember that a square root is the same as a 1/2 power. So that means that this is really 5 to the 1/2 with an x. Okay, then on the other side, 25. Hopefully you know that 25 is in your 5s chart. 25 is 5 squared. But because it's a fraction here, I'm going to make it 5 to the minus squared. So remember, fractions turn your exponent negative. Then from there, I can cross out my common 5s, and I have a 1/2 x equals negative 2. Then from there, to solve, you're going to need to multiply by 2 on both sides to cancel out that 1/2. So 1/2 of 2 is like a times 2 and a divide by 2, and then x equals negative 4. Okay, let's do one more just like that. Take a look at your next one. My base is an x up to the 3. Bring it back around equals 8 over 27. And then I'm like, okay, well, let me see if I can write both of these as a third power so I can cross it out. Okay, let's look at 8. 8 can be written as a 2 to the 3. 27 can be written as a 3 to the 3. So if that's a 2 to the 3 over a 3 to the 3, then I could say that x is equal to 2/3 to the 3. So I'm basically just taking my 2/3, making it the base, and then combining that third power on the outside. Now remember, once I get these common 3's, what's the point of that? Well, now I can slash them out. X is 2/3. Okay, next one, take a look at 31. Write your base. So I have 5/3 up to the negative 2 equals x. We're just doing our little loop there. Okay, then remember, the negative on the inside means I need to flip this fraction in the middle. So if that's a 5/3, now it's a 3/5 to the 2. So remember, the negative on the inside, that's going to flip your fraction. So then from there, I can just do 3 squared over 5 squared. Okay, well, 3 squared on the top, that's 9. 5 squared on the bottom, that's 25. So it'd be x equals 9 over 25. Okay? Alright, next one, take a look at number 33. So my base here is missing, that means it must be a base 10. Then I'm going to do 10 up to the 1. Bring it back around equals x squared plus 3x. Now, hopefully you remember 10 to the 1 is really just 10. But if you're not sure, 10 up to the 1, your calculator will remind you that's really just a 10 over here. So I have 10 equals x squared plus 3x. And then you should realize anytime that you see an x squared and a 3x, that 10 is going to have to come over so that you can t-chart. So I'll have 0 equals x squared plus 3x, and then my 10 over here is now a minus 10. Then we're going to do our t-chart. Now, if I need a negative 10, my choices are 1 and 10 or 2 and 5. But if I need them to have a difference of 3, I got to pick 2 and 5. Then I got to think about where I'm going to put the minus. I want to put it on the 2 side so that 3 comes out to be positive at the end. So my factors are going to be x minus 2 and x plus 5, which means that my x's, remember you got to change the sign here, so x is going to be positive 2 and negative 5. Okay, let's do another one. Let's look at number 34. Okay, notice I have a log little 5 of x, 2 log little 5 of 10. Okay, I cannot cross these logs out with that 2 in the way. So you got to remember all your different rules. This 2 is allowed to jump up as an exponent. And now, instead of being a 10, it's a 10 squared, which is the same as log little 5 of 100. And then from there, my 5 and my log 5 can both be canceled if I apply a 5 as the base. So remember, whenever it's a log 5, I can just 5 both sides and cross it out. And then from there I have x equals, this is gone, 100. Bam, done. Okay, take a look at number, let's do 36 next. 36, I notice both of my logs here are subtracted. Remember, subtraction means I'm dividing x minus 1 by x plus 14. So I have log little 4 of x minus 1 divided by x plus 14 equals negative 2. Now remember, why am I dividing these guys? Okay, I'm dividing those because it was a subtraction problem here in the middle. If that had been addition, I would have been multiplying them. Okay? Then from there, I'm going to do my little loop. 4 up to the negative 2 equals x minus 1 over x plus 14. And then from there, one more step. I notice that if this side is a fraction, this side has a negative, it needs to be a fraction too. So 4 squared is 16. Well, then 4 to the negative squared is going to be 1 over 16. And then from there, hopefully you remember what to do. Okay, think about all the different examples we've done. Whenever you have a fraction equals a fraction, you're going to cross multiply. So I'll do 16 times x minus 1 equals, and then I'll do 1 times x plus 14. Then from there I'll have 16 times x is 16x, times minus 1 is minus 16. Other side I'll have a 1x, times 14 is plus 14. Then from there I can bring the baby to the mama, so minus your 1x across. 16x minus 1x is 15x minus 16. Other side crosses out equals 14. Add this 16 across, add that 16 across. These guys here are going to cross out with each other. Then 5x equals 14 plus 16 is 30. And then for your last step, you're going to divide by 5 on both sides. So that's going to be x equals 30 divided by 5 is 6. Okay? Alright, flip over to the back side. 8 minutes into your notes, and we have already finished the first half. Okay, flip over to that back side. Okay, let's say that you are doing number 39. Okay, take a look. I have 2 logs. They are added. Anytime that I see a plus in the middle, I know I'm going to need to multiply. So I'm doing x times x plus 6, and you better believe you're going to need to distribute. So I'm going to have log little 2 of x times x is x squared, x times 6 is plus 6x equals 4. Then from there, we're going to do our loop. 2 to the 4 equals, bring it back around, x squared plus 6x. Then I can pull out my little chart here. Okay, 2 to the 4. 2 to the 4 is 16. So then I have 16 equals x squared plus 6x. And then I know this little 16 is going to have to come over so that I can t-chart. So I'll have 0 equals x squared plus 6x minus 16. Set up your chart. Negative 16 at the top. I need numbers that multiply to 16, have a difference of 6. Let's think about our choices. I have 1 times 16 or 2 times 8. Well, if I need them to subtract to 6, then that would be 2 and 8. Now, if I do 2 minus 8, I'm going to get a negative 6. So if I want a plus 6, I need to make sure I put the minus on the 2. So then I have x minus 2 and x plus 8. And remember, whatever your parentheses are, your answers are going to be the opposite. So x is going to equal 2 from the minus 2, and then negative 8 from the positive 8. Okay, a couple more left. Take a look at number, let's do number 40. Let's do 41. Okay, number 41, take a look. I have logs and they are added. Remember, whenever your logs are added, that means you got to multiply these guys out. So I'm going to have an x minus 4 times an x plus 4. Now, what you should notice is that last time, I just had to distribute this x in here. This time, you're going to have to do double distribution. Okay, and remember that the only difference between regular distribution and double is you're going to times the x in, then you're going to come back and times the 4. So x times x is going to be x squared. X times 4 is a 4x. Then I move to my negative 4 here times x. And then my negative 4 times 4 is a minus 16. Then from there, what do you notice? Well, 4x and minus 4x, those guys cross out. So really, all that I have left is x squared minus 16. Now, remember, where am I going to put that? I multiplied these together. I got this. That's going to be my new log. So I have log little 3 of x squared minus 16 equals 2. So I multiplied these two guys together. I got x squared minus 16, and then I combined them into the same log. From here, we're ready to loop. So it's going to be 3 up to the 2. Back around equals x squared minus 16. Now, hopefully you know that 3 squared is the same as, pull out your little chart if you need it. Okay, 3 squared is the same as 9. And so if that's 9 equals x squared minus 16, I'm going to add that 16 across. 9 plus 16 gives me 25. And if 25 equals x squared, then square root both sides, and x equals plus or minus 5. Because remember, when I take the square root of 25, I get plus or minus that answer. Okay? Alright, number 42 is very similar to that. Last one, I guess, kind of like that, maybe we can do is number 40. Number 40, take a look. Hopefully you notice you have 2 logs and they're added. That means that I'm going to have to multiply x minus 5 times x plus 1. So I'm taking these two guys and I'm going to multiply. Okay? So from here, I have x times x is x squared. X times 1 is a 1x. Negative 5 times x is a negative 5x. Negative 5 times 1 is a minus 5. Now, last time my 4x's came out to be opposites and canceled. This time I gotta combine them. So 1x minus 5x is going to be actually a negative 4x minus 5. And then I'm going to take that, my simplified expression, and I'm going to take my 2 separate logs and I'm going to combine them together to be in the same log. So I'll have log little 7 of x squared minus 4x minus 5. And then I'm going to set that equal to 1. Now, I also want you to think about why the heck do we have to do that? You cannot loop when you have multiple logs. So that's the whole problem that we're trying to fix, is I can't log loop when I have 2 logs added together. So I combine them by multiplying. I do a little double distribution to get to here so I can loop. 7 to the 1, x squared minus 4x minus 5. Now remember, as we said, anything to the 1 stays the same. So that's really just a regular 7. So I can minus my 7 across here. 0 equals x squared minus 4x. Negative 5 minus 7 more is a minus 12. And then from there, you're going to work your little T-chart magic. So I need a negative 12 at the top. I got 1 times 12 or 2 times 6. Also, I have 3 times 4, but I see these guys are going to be my partners. So I'm not going to put 3 times 4 in my chart just because I know it's not going to be the winner. Okay, from here, I need a negative 4 in the middle, so that's going to be a 2 minus 6. Remember, you have to put the minus on the bigger number so that they can subtract to a negative 4. So over x over x. So x plus 2 and x minus 6. Then from there, you're going to switch up your signs on those guys. So if that's an x plus 2, your answer is negative 2. And if that's a negative 6, your answer is positive 6. Okay. All right, last row. Let's do number 43. Okay, take a look at number 43. Last one we're doing together. So I have log little 5 of the cubic root of x. Okay, so I'm just going to kind of leave that for now. And then on this side, I'm going to have to move this 3 up to go right there. So now I have log little 5 of 2 to the 3. Look at your chart. Okay, remember 2 to the 3 is really 8. So I'm going to have 8 minus log little 5 of 4. Okay, then from there, I still can't loop or do anything because I have 2 separate logs, but if they're subtracted, then I can do 8 divided by 4. Because remember, whenever you have logs that are minus, you can divide their arguments. So 8 divided by 4 gives me log 5 cubic root x equals log 5 of 8 divided by 4 is 2. Then from there, to get rid of my 5 as my base, I have a log little 5 and a log little 5. I can boom, 5 it, boom, 5 it. And then remember that when you 5 a log 5, these guys eliminate. So I have the cubic root of x equals, and then on the other side, you have a 5 log 5. These guys cross out. You have a 2 on the other side. Then from there, to get rid of a cubic root, you're going to have to cube and cube. And remember that when you cubic root a cubed function, those guys cross out. So then you have x equals 2 to the 3. Okay, but then we got to turn that into our answer here. So I'm going to pull up my little chart. Remember, what was 2 to the 3? 8. So then x is 8. All right, so remember, all of this is due the Monday after Thanksgiving break. Okay, if you finish early, then you're welcome to turn it into the sub, but if you'd rather wait, that's no big deal either. So, do your best, finish up, and I will see you guys after Thanksgiving. Have a good break.